Hey, just doing a little sweeping. A little sweeping we had to do. It's important to keep the place clean. Every now and then, you just gotta sweep it up. You gotta sweep it up. And that's what we did this weekend. We swept the picks on Friday. We hit them all. Everything hit. Feels good. Feels good. Oh, it feels good. We had a bunch. We had 3 official picks. Some were parlays, some were teasers. We hit everything. We'll get into it. It was good stuff. Patriots, Bucks, Ravens, Dolphins, Vikings. I even gave out a long shot parlay on Twitter, which I didn't include in Friday's show, and that almost hit. It was a great week. It's a great week. It feels good. Sometimes you win. And sometimes you got to do sweeping broom bits. You know? It's all the same. We want to get into all these games. The only notes that I have from the weekend and from today that are non-real football related before we actually dive in and break this stuff down was John Wall situation. We talked about it on one of the previous streams about how it's nonsense that the Rockets aren't playing him. I don't know why they're not. It makes no sense. You can go back to that one on YouTube or Twitch. MikeTheMush on both. But now he says he wants to play. He released some Instagram videos saying he is working out. He's showing himself playing. He's ready to go. I don't know if he's angling for a trade. I don't know who could really trade for him. I don't know why the Rockets would say no to this. They're awful anyway, and they should be wanting their young stars to develop with a point guard that can play basketball. It's just a weird saga. They're not going to buy him out, right? That'd be equally weird. And if they do, where would he go? So I don't want to get too far into that, but John Wall Lakers would make sense to me. If they traded Russ for Wall, it would be so funny to send Russ back to the Rockets. It will never happen, but it would be so hilarious. I'm in for that. Lincoln Riley to USC. This is kind of what I've expected from USC for a while, and they kept hiring the Clay Heltons of the world, and you're like, it's USC. They should get better candidates than this. And it just felt like they had to pick the best available person, not necessarily the best person on their wish list. And I don't think that's what they ever wanted. This feels like the top guy on their wish list, and they nailed him. I'm a little surprised he's going there, but it makes plenty of sense. He gets to live on the West Coast. This is the job for him, and he's earned it. He's one of the better coaches in college. He's young. He can be at USC forever if he feels like it. This is a fit that makes sense to me. And USC is going to go up-tempo. They're going to start throwing the ball. They're going to be more fun to watch on TV. They'll get better QB recruits. And, look out in the Pac-12. That's going to be a problem. And you're going to see him on TV all the time, I'm sure. Let's cut in for a clip that I saw yesterday, which was really funny. Let me make sure I have it here. I do. Let's go here. Steph Curry yesterday got a tech after getting a three-pointer and celebrating it. I'm going to keep this small. I wish I could go full screen or play the streamables for some of these because they're better quality and stuff, but I feel like for some reason on Twitter, I don't get dinged for copyright stuff. I don't know if that makes sense or is correct, but if I full screen it or go to YouTube or go to the website itself, which is nonsense. I'm just promoting going to the NBA and watching their stuff and having more people watch it, but I get it. But for some reason on Twitter, they seem to be okay with it. I don't know if they're just not catching on or if I'm going to get smashed for it later, but either way.
In game 2 and beat them almost single-handedly.
Steph hits a 3.
He's trying to do the same.
And then watch him. He does the T to the ref.
31! He's got
Psycho! It's like he's flipping him off, kind of.
Steph is a killer.
I mean, Steph is so ridiculous.
Don't give Steph a...
He's so crazy. I want to watch this play again on mute because he literally dribbles right into 2 people. Watch this. He's at half court, dribbles through the 2, step back, bang, who cares? They dominated. The Clippers are good, by the way. and he tees up the ref. I'm shocked that he didn't get a second tee and get thrown out of this game. But I think he was kind of calling the bluff on the ref. Like, the first tech was so stupid, and he's the golden boy of the league. He's dominating. His team's going to win either way. So if he gets thrown out, so be it. And he knew they weren't going to do it. It was actually legitimately funny. I really like this. He's a freak. They're such a problem if Clay comes back. I wonder if they're going to make a trade or what they're going to do with all their young guys. Like Kuminga's starting to look good, and Peyton, and they still have Wiseman who hasn't come back. But they got options. I'm scared of the Warriors for sure. Been betting on them a lot, as you've seen. And if you haven't seen, stick around to the end of the streams. We give a pick every day, and we've been absolutely crushing. Swept football, crushing NBA all season, and college basketball is getting rolling. Speaking of basketball, Michael Porter Jr. out for the season. I didn't bring up anything about this, but that's rough. You look back at that NBA draft 2019, I think, and no, maybe it was 18, or could have been 18. Am I stupid here? Did I just not see him? I mean, probably. No. Was it 20? No. It's really 17? Is that right? Dude. Alright, I'm blind. Embarrassing. 2018. That's what I typed in a million times. Yeah, 14th. The Luka draft. All right. So you look back, I was so mad that the Knicks took Kevin Knox over Michael Porter Jr. here. So mad. And I still am extremely mad because I knew Kevin Porter Jr. is in the league, so that makes sense. He's better than both these guys probably after this back injury for Michael Porter. But Kevin Knox was a horrible pick. I told people forever, and he will never see an NBA court. Michael Porter falls to 14 because of back issues. He missed most of the season at Missouri in college. And then he started to get it to... He missed most of his first season in the NBA, too. And then he starts to get together, and now it's this again, back surgery, ending his season, and you start to go, oh, no, did they miss the window? Because he didn't sign yet, all right? Oh, he did. Oh, he just signed in September. Oh. I didn't realize that, because they were thinking about trading him. That's brutal. He still can be dangled as a trade, but not after this, right? 5-year rookie scale max extension, which is exactly what he's going to get from anybody no matter what. You don't have a choice. You have to extend him or trade him. But it kicks in next year. That's tough, because who knows how he's going to come back from this. I don't know. Back injury's scary, so all the draft day deniers were looking bad because he was dominating. We're going to get to football, I swear. But, yeah, he was up to 19 points per game last year, and then he struggled through injury this year and succumbs to it, and it's just sad. Paige Bucher signed with Gatorade. First Gatorade college player to sign for anything. Go UConn Huskies. That's awesome. Gotta have a flavor Gatorade, right? Bucher's buckets. It's terrible. Anyway, tomorrow I want to talk baseball stuff. I want to do football all day today, but tomorrow I want to talk baseball contracts, free agency, all that kind of jazz. There's a lot to talk about. Max Scherzer to the Mets, etc., etc. We'll get there. I have takes. Shock, I know. And we have time to talk about that. Wednesday, I'm going to be off. I have some stuff to do. Thursday, I think we're going to preview UFC fight night this week between Font and Aldo. That should be good. And then Friday's football again, and then we're back at it. Let's dive into these games. Let's start with the games that we had. Patriots money line was our anchor for everything. They absolutely shredded. Tennessee could not score on this defense. We're not even talking about the offense doing a great job against a Titans D that's actually pretty good. But this Pat's D is really ridiculous. The refs even made some ugly plays in this, and it didn't matter. Refs, a theme throughout the day. I took some notes on plays that really bothered me, so you'll see them.
The single back. Tannehill
And
under center with a...
One of them was the Titans' only real touchdown, aside from that long run that they had, where the guy was clearly in, never got touched, and then the refs called him down for some reason. Meanwhile, literally no one touched him. He rolled into the end zone. He's perfectly fine. It's not college rules, so the refs know that. And also, just call it a score, and then you automatically review it. It just shows how they're not thinking. The refs are not thinking about what to do here. Because if it's a score, you review it, and then you can overturn it. If it's not a score, you demand Vrabel to use a challenge on it, which is insane. And he had to do it. Tannehill was terrible. 11 for 21. He can't throw to anyone. They have nobody here. I mean, look at this list. Cody Hollister was playing well, and he got hurt. They have just no one. So, and their only offense was on the ground, but not... This is a misleading box score for a couple reasons, I think. And you'll see the same thing in the Bucks game, which we'll get to in a second. But Hilliard had a 68-yard random run on a drive that they were just starting in their own zone. That went for a touchdown, so that inflates their stats. And then Foreman had a big 30-yard run that was kind of silly. He was fine throughout the day, but Hilliard, these numbers are a little weird. And I think most of this came when New England was already up a lot. This game was mostly over. They go into a deep passing defense, and Tennessee just took runs down the middle. And same exact thing that the Colts did against the Bucks. We'll talk about that. But, yeah, this was just a beatdown, and I knew it would be. The Titans are way closer right now to the team that lost to the Jets and the Texans than they are the team that beat the Bills. So, or the Chiefs, for that matter. It just hurt. You can't do it. And Tannehill can't put a team on his back randomly. He needs the talent around him. And he's looked horrible for 2 straight weeks. I just see this team trending further down. A.J. Brown's on the IR, and they're not even really worth talking about. They could lose to the Jaguars, legitimately. I mean, they probably won't, but, like, I'm not going to touch that game this week. They could lose to the Steelers. They could lose to the Niners. Like, this team is... They're crashing to earth, and we knew it. And the Patriots are surging. Plus 750 to win the AFC. I still believe in it. They get the Bills this week. They'll get to decide that division, or start to decide it. They play twice. Mac Jones... I mean, it'll, of course, be a meme for 20 more years that the Jets picked earlier than the Pats. They picked second. They take Zach Wilson. He's going to bust or be hurt forever or just throw it off his running back's back for an interception. Jesus. And then the Pats just wait, get Mac Jones, and he crushes. He's Brady 2.0. Autoplay's terrible. He's Brady 2.0. We cry. He struggled in the red zone a little bit against a good defense at times. They settled for way too many field goals. Nick Folk destroying me in fantasy. I mean, he's literally the MVP of the week. Probably had the most points of anyone, almost. I think he had like second or third most, literally, of anyone in our league. And New England's rushing attack looked fine enough to get by. Stevenson continues to get better. Harris was fine. Nothing to write home about. Their offense moved. Mac looked fine, controlled the game, and their defense put them in great positions the whole entire game, and they just are way better. They're more physical, and this team's going places. And they'll play the Bills Monday night, yes. What's the spread on that? I would imagine without looking, it would be Monday night, Bills home game on primetime, Bills at home. Probably 2. I think 3, I'll take the Patriots if it's 3. And I think it should be closer to 1. But it's probably 2. It's 3. All right. Keep it in mind for Friday. That's all I'm saying. Next game. So we hit that, and we had that parlayed with the Bucks. At 1 o'clock. This one was harder than it should have been. But they pull it out at the end with a touchdown in overtime. This looked really ugly early because Wentz was just shredding them. An absurd start, first of all. Both teams tried so many gadget plays and weird stuff and ended up fumbling. It was like the ball was greased up. The good news is Tampa stopped doing that, and Indy just kept doing it for a while. Wentz got the turnover bug. I know it's not that shocking, but he did. And the turnovers just turned completely around. Corey Seeger signs with Texas Rangers for 10 years, $325 million. I thought the Yankees could get him. That's a bummer. That's a lot of money. Good for him. He's awesome. He's definitely awesome. World Series MVP. We'll talk about that tomorrow on the Tuesday show. But he does sign. Crazy. Anyway, first half, no one to blame but the Tampa secondary. It just continued to look really bad.
Scrimmage, Wentz takes the snap.
Murphy Bunting came back. I thought he improved them last week, but he got picked on this week. The long touchdown to Doolin, Wentz just throwing bombs down the field, and they were picking on him specifically. It's hard to blame their injuries anymore when he's their top corner and they pick on him and score. Wentz made some unbelievable throws. Like, really, he is capable of doing that. I've always liked Carson Wentz. I never rag on him as much as other people. He's not elite, but he's got that arm talent, and we knew that he would out of college, and he's shown that if he can stay healthy. He just turns the ball over and does stupid things also, but he has the downfield weapon. So maybe we didn't trust them enough against what was a bad secondary that didn't improve as much as I thought it did. They can't make a stop. Like, third down and third and long, the Colts just kept picking it up. I don't know what the numbers are. Third down efficiency, 5 for 11. Tampa was 2 for 8. And a lot of these were like 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. And they were just getting it. So that is terrifying. I think I was just a little bit blinded by the X's and O's, the hugs and kisses. Because I figured that Taylor would get shut down, and I think he did. And I thought that Tampa would beat the Indy secondary, which they did. I just didn't factor in that the Colts could score this many points with Wentz leading the charge. They did. We won it. It was damn close. It was Brady getting the ball late and just trusting that he would score, and then going to overtime and trusting that they would score. It was just really like, the first half, like, this is what could go wrong. Oh, yeah, I disrespected the Colts. Playoff team, getting 3 at home. I get it. And then second half was like, oh, yeah, right. I forgot. Wentz is going to turn it over twice, and Brady's going to score down the stretch, and they're just going to hand it to Fournette for 1 million touchdowns. He had 4. Broke every fantasy league. The Fournette factor is really big for them, honestly. He's a problem. Like, if you don't pay attention to the run, at least some, he's so hard to tackle, and he seems to get stronger as games goes on. If he stay healthy, you have to be in a base pass defense. You have to be playing like nickel against Brady. You absolutely have to, especially if Brown comes back. You don't have a choice. And so if you get Fournette against light boxes, that's tough. And even in short yardage against stack boxes, it's tough. And then if you stack the box, Brady's going to go play action on you and score every time. Gronk touchdown. And Gronk dominated this game, 7 for 123. Godwin and Evans didn't even do anything. They just crushed the middle of the field with Fournette and Gronk and went full strength. And it worked. Brady giving touchdowns away. He only had 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but that's because Fournette got all the short yardage stuff. It could have easily been Brady if he wanted to be. And I still think he's the MVP. I still think this team is going places. I don't know if they lose again. This was the tough one. You do have the Bills still. At the Falcons, they should put up 1 million. Then you got the Bills, Saints, Panthers, Jets, Panthers. You should win. You should maybe lose 1 more game. I mean, you have 4 losses maybe. And if they get a bye, they crush people at home. I'd still look out for Tampa. But their secondary is still a problem. Like, you can beat them. I just don't know if you want to get in a shootout with Tom Brady. You don't have a choice. And you can't run on them. So you have to throw a lot. And this is why this Jonathan Taylor stat is so misleading. Because as soon as they tried to run early on, it didn't work. When Tampa was in base defense stopping the run, focused on stopping the run, they stopped the run. It was no problem. When they start playing more for the pass because Wentz is killing them down the field and they have to drop 2 safeties and play some cover 3 even or something weird, then Taylor was able to run, but only because the Bucs were giving it to them, because they realized they had to stop the bleeding a little bit and bend, not break. So he has 5.2 yards per carry, but not really. I I think whenever Tampa wants to stop the run, they can. Vita Vea and Sue in the middle with the 2 linebackers. Levante David, I think, or Devin White got hurt here. We'll see what happens with that, but the Fournette factor for this offense is scary and underrated. Scotty Miller sighting on special teams. This team's so stacked, he can't even see the field. And he makes a huge play on special teams, so that was fun. But yeah, you give Brady the ball back with 3:29 left right here, and like, yeah, he's going down the field for a touchdown. 28-yard run from Fournette. And then Wentz picked. Hilarious. And yeah, Bucks roll. So, oh my God, and they almost ran the kickback. How about that? 72-yard return to the Tampa 32. I was celebrating. I was going nuts. We hit the parlay. Picks are going really well. Fist pumping. We're doing everything. And then I literally turn around as I hear him running down the field. The announcer's going crazy. I'm like, no, not like this. Not like this. Switch from the Matrix. Not like this. You know the scene. You get it. And they didn't. Thank God. They turned it over. Wentz found a way to turn it over. I still like the Colts a lot. I think this is a nightmare matchup for them. That's why we took it. And here we are. Victorious. Just a note, since Tampa won on the road.
At the line of scrimmage, Wentz takes the snap. Bootleg rolls out to his right.
Let's see. Well, we've talked about road teams. I have some stats on underdogs. The Bucks weren't an underdog. That's not timely. But we did have an underdog teaser, which I'll get to next. And that was Dolphins +9 and Vikings +10, both underdogs. Underdogs in November are 59% to cover. That's wild since the month is over. 59% they finish at. 23 underdogs have won outright in November. It's a lot. Underdogs are on pace to go 99, 77, and 1 against the spread, which would be the best mark since 1980. I believe home teams against the spread have the worst record ever in the Super Bowl era. This all came from the Ringer Gambling Show, which I listened to, and it's awesome. They have a lot of good stats and a lot of good takes. Definitely check them out. But I thought that was absolutely wild. So the question is, off of those statistics, does this trend continue and you can get value on dogs and road teams who have been winning way more than home teams? Or is it going to regress to the mean and we should start extracting the value from favorites, because at the end of the year it'll probably be around 50-50 because Vegas doesn't really mess up that bad, right? So I don't know which one of those two things it is. I don't know how to factor it in, but I'm going to try every Friday when we go to make picks, because getting points in an environment where dogs are just dominating and winning outright seems like a good plan, and teasing them up further is really what I liked. I loved that Dolphins-Vikings tease. It felt safe the whole entire time. Let's talk about the Dolphins game, because that was just a beatdown. Cam Newton's terrible. I mean, this was a fade of Cam Newton. We'd said it on Friday. You can go back, check out the video. He's awful. He's 5 for 21 with 2 picks. And PJ Walker isn't anything to write home about if he comes in. Are these upgrades over Sam Darnold? I guess. Is that your baseline? They have the worst quarterbacking room in the league. This is what Cam is. He can run. He had a hard-nosed run where he get carried into the end zone by a lineman. But Miami has a good defense.
To the line of scrimmage, they go quickly on sound.
And Miami's offense is coming together. Tua looks good. Everyone needs to apologize to Tua. I never gave up. He's been so injured, and his team has had nobody to throw to. He finally has Jalen Waddle, who's awesome, and Waddle looks awesome. Give this guy some talent. Give him a chance. Give him a minute. It's crazy. He was so good in college. He beat out Mac Jones for the job, and Jalen Hurts, who are both starting in the NFL, and Tua gets crapped on. It's nonsense. It really is. I think this team's good. We made the case for them on Friday that they could be 500 after this, because now they have the Jets and the Giants, right? Yeah, both at home and then at the Saints. That's a winnable game too. And the Titans, the way they're playing, I don't know. This team has won 4 in a row. What if they rip off 2 more? Definitely. They're going for 6 in a row. They'll be 7-7 at the Saints, at the Titans. Who knows? They were probably never as bad as we gave them credit, or took credit from them to be. English is hard. But Jacoby Brissett was the quarterback, and Tua was playing injured. Now that they've seemed to have locked into something, their defense is pretty good, and their offense is coming together. I don't think they're a pushover, and them getting points at home was nonsense against this Panthers team who's really bad. McCaffrey gets hurt. He's out for the season. They are done. I will be fading the Panthers every way I possibly can. I have been for a long time, all season. And that's been the one thing that has paid off consistently. It was so easy. There wasn't a ton to say about this game, really. Box score-wise, did any receivers play well other than Waddle? Gaskin's fine. They get Phillip Lindsay. He looked pretty good. Yeah. I mean, this is just nothing. It's just a complete beatdown. And then the Vikings. Now, this I have a lot to say about. The Vikings. First of all, Dalvin Cook is done. This team is done, if you ask me. Without Cook, it all seems to fall apart. Justin Jefferson is unbelievable, but Cousins couldn't find him. Cousins played really poorly today. This box score doesn't always bear out how bad Kirk Cousins is. Debo, first of all, he's hurt too, but it looks like he avoided major injury, so that's good. It looks like he's got a sprain of some kind. Debo is unreal. He didn't have he had one catch, 4 targets, but he does all his work in the backfield, like we've been saying. He's been dominating. The Cordero Patterson, Bill Belichick started this whole trend thing, and it's extending to Debo, and more people are going to do it. I saw CD Lamb do it, I think, on Thanksgiving, too. As long as these guys can stay healthy and don't take too many hits there, it's an interesting wrinkle for sure. And then Elijah Mitchell handles 27 carries also, so if he's back and healthy, then they look pretty good. They can't even get Trey Sermon on the field. That Jeff Wilson doesn't play. Like, they have guys, and Debo still... They just got to get him the ball. He's so elite with the ball that they're like, I don't care how we do it, just get him the ball. So their offense, if he's there, is good. I do worry big time what it's going to look like if he's not there. And they play the Seahawks and then the Bengals. We'll see what the Seahawks do tonight and at the Bengals. If he's missing for both those, their offense is going to look very different. And I would have some concerns about that. But this Minnesota team, this game was close the whole time. We knew it would be. Kirk has a knack for throwing bad balls that really turn games around. Even if the surface level stats look good, I just don't buy all of it. The Vikings just try really hard to lose week after week. I hate talented teams that blow it all the time just as much as I hate talentless teams. That's what the Vikings are. They have talent, but they know how to lose. That stinks. Cousins is not an elite quarterback. I don't care what his numbers tell you. He's basically Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, they're similar. And I don't think anyone goes crazy over either one. They're fine. They can start for a team, but they're probably not going to lead you all the way to a Super Bowl by putting the team on their back. And with Cook out, I worry about both these teams in the short term, but I worry about the Vikings in the long run. Their defense fell apart in this one. I thought their defense was supposed to be healthy and look better. Anthony Barr gets hurt. He's their signal caller on defense. That was rough. The 2-for-1 before the half, San Francisco went into halftime with a touchdown and came out of halftime with a touchdown. It's like the Brady special. He's done it forever. And if you can control clock like that, like they can, a 15-play drive for 8 minutes and 20 seconds going into the half, then it's going to be a tough mountain to climb. And then I think it was a pick after that by Kirk on the first play. Yeah, it sure was. And then I was like, okay, this game is over. Now, I'm psyched that we cover. We get a missed field goal from Robbie Gould. Although, honestly, even if he hits the field goal, then San Francisco goes into a deep cover defense, and the Vikings probably do score anyway. So I think they would have covered the 9 either way. I had them +4. That was rough. I felt like Kirk gave this game away. Their play calling is bad. I just don't like the Vikings. I really don't. I wonder how much the Everson Griffin situation had any impact on this. I don't know enough about that, but there was some kind of weird off-field situation with him. Who knows how the locker room was feeling about it. The defense did look a little more lost than it had in weeks. So with Griffin dealing with whatever he's dealing with and Barr going out and they can't make play calls, Barr should have signed with the Jets, by the way, so you deserve what you get. And then Cousins absolutely spiking a wide-open 2-point conversion to Justin Jefferson. That was brutal. He threw it into the ground. It was Cam Newton style. Awful. they got a 0 on a 12-play drive here somewhere. Yeah, turned it over on downs. They go for it 4th and 3 from the 3, and Kirk throws it into the ground again. So, that was the one where Kirk Cousins tries to get everyone in motion. It's going fine. He lines up under the guard and has to burn a timeout because he doesn't know where he is and he's confused and the clock's running down. If that ain't Kirk Cousins, I mean, come on. You got everything going. We're moving. We're going to score a touchdown to tie the game. Oh, there's no one with the ball here. Jeez. It's so that you can't make up how bad that is. That was 4th and goal. And then they have to move back, and they just don't get it. And it's just, it's how the Vikings lose games. You should know. It makes sense. The refs missed a blatant pass interference on the last drive, 3rd and 8 on the final drive, and the Vikings lose. That was a really bad look. I don't see people talking about that, but it looked like a terrible call to me. Jimmy G made plays all night. What is Jimmy G here? I mean, I was saying they should start Trey Lance a while ago, just because I don't think this team can win the Super Bowl, and I think it's better for Lance to take some lumps if necessary. But now they look like they're definitely going to make the playoffs, it seems. I don't know about definitely if Debo's hurt. I mean, we'll see with that. But they don't have a murderer's row of opponents. They still play the Seahawks, Falcons, Titans, Texans. And if they're healthy, they're better. But how healthy are they? That's going to be the question. So we'll see with that as we move forward. But I trust San Francisco more than I trust Minnesota. I'm happy that this game was close. I thought it would be, and I liked the tease up to 9. But they disappointed me if you took him +3 or +4 when they could have done it. And that's just the story of their season. Like, oh, we could have done it. We didn't. I'll be intrigued to see what happens San Francisco, Seattle next week. I wonder what the line is on that. At Seattle. Seattle's so bad, and we don't know what's going to happen on Monday night, but I would have to imagine Seattle is... Niners -1 in Seattle. If no Debo, then yeah, 1. It's 1.5. Started at 3.5? What? Oh, that's tonight. Next week, San Francisco, Seattle, 2.5. Up to 3 in some spots. I think I might take Seattle, but I think they're going to bounce back tonight. We'll get to that at the end of the stream. What other games did we have? The only other one, so we hit Patriots, Bucks parlay. We hit the Dolphins, Vikings 7-point teaser. And then we had Patriots and Ravens in the night game. Let's talk about that. As horrible as that game was, we were pretty much correct to just completely fade Baker Mayfield, as we have been for weeks upon weeks. And it just never fails. He's always hurt. He limps around the field constantly. He can't throw accurately. They refuse to put Case Keenum in the game even when games are constantly winnable if they get any better quarterback play. Their offensive line is so bad. I don't know how they've gotten credit. Baker takes more hits than I don't know, Paul brother. It is wild. He gets destroyed. I've never seen anyone take as many bad hits as him. That line is bad, and he's small, and he just looks like he's going to have to get carted off after all of them. And he's tough. He gets up. He plays, but he's competing under 50% of his passes in this game. They didn't run the ball at all because they can't pass it at all, so everyone can just sell out on the run. They don't have anyone that can catch it down the field except for Landry, but he doesn't really go down the field. They're all short yardage. They have nothing. Why don't they put Keenum in? I can't understand. You can't possibly think this team's playing better with an injured Baker. What is their coaching staff doing? Lamar looks as awful as humanly possible, and Baltimore couldn't run the ball. I mean, this game was awful. It really was terrible. But you get 4 picks on Lamar, and you can't win. So that's why we faded the Browns. That's why I took Baltimore money line. I didn't feel great about it constantly. Their offense comes and goes. The Greg Roman offense, sometimes you're like, oh, sidearm play on 3rd and 4 to Mark Andrews. Why can't we do that every time? Or a Hollywood Brown slant. And it's like, oh, this is easy. This is why in the beginning of the year they picked up 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8. And then you run with Lamar, and it all makes sense. He still ran well in this game. But today it just looked like they couldn't string anything together because Lamar didn't have it. And when he doesn't have it, this team falls apart because they don't have the running backs. Dobbins would have been really awesome for them, But Devontae Freeman shows me less and less every week. I have him on my fantasy team, and I'm always like, I can't start him, right? And then I watch him, and I'm like, no, I can't start him. His long run was 8. He had 16 carries. Latavius Murray doesn't have a lot. I just don't see how this team, unless Lamar lights it up down the field to Brown a couple times, they throw to Andrews and Brown so much. This is all the offense is. And then Lamar runs. This is the 1 seed. Like, the Patriots are better than the Ravens. I just think they are. I've been saying the Patriots are the best team in the AFC for a little while. The Ravens might get there, but come playoff time, Lamar needs to really turn this around, and I haven't seen that from him enough to believe that he's gonna. But this was just more about nobody gets walloped like Baker Mayfield. I mean, how come that line doesn't take more heat? They really need to. He gets 100% of the flack because his girlfriend is tweeting about him. And they lose Conklin in this one. Like, this offensive line is bad. It's really bad. Chubb runs for 2 yards per carry. Like, they got manhandled. And big difference in this game that I didn't mention on Friday, but as soon as I turned it on, I was like, oh, yeah, that's why I bet them subconsciously, probably, maybe, or I'm saying that now, and it's fun. Justin Tucker doesn't miss field goals. He makes more clutch field goals than anybody, and he salts this game away for them. Also, the Ravens don't lose night home games in all black. I don't know what their record is. It seems super dominant. I'm going to Google this once, and then I'm getting away from it. NFL record by jersey color. No. Color Rush Wikipedia. All right. Whatever. They don't lose in black at home. A night game. I mean, come on. They're not losing. Browns missed a field goal in this one, too. And doinked one in, I think, off the upright, which is ridiculous. Oh, Mark Andrews had an insane one-handed catch. Look at this play. Oh, this was the deep one. Oh, that one-handed grab. And he gets a pass interference, which is hilarious. You can't really guard this guy one-on-one. He's hard. If you're a small guy, he can go up and pinpoint that ball. Look at this play.
Murray's the best.
Look at that. Lamar rolls out. Just go deep, bro. I got you. Boop. Oh, that's filthy. That is really nice. He made plays like this all night. He's awesome. But you need their offense to show more. I don't know what they need. I think they need a better running game, and I just haven't seen it. And I don't know if anyone's coming back for them or anything. So to get that Greg Roman offense thing going, to get I love that sidearm pass that Lamar does. He seems to only do it on third down. It's almost better than his normal throw. It's so nice when he's rolling out and he can really slice and dice them. But you need the running game to work, and the read option has to work. And you can't just sell out on Lamar like the Dolphins did to beat him. And they only score 16 at home tonight against a Browns team that looks like they're just falling off the face of the earth. I wonder how much we can fade the Browns the rest of the way. They play the Ravens again? They both have a bye this week, and then they play the Ravens again. They're going to get smoked, probably. I don't see why it would get any better. Unless Baker... He's not getting healthier, so... Unless they start Keenum. The Ravens probably will get healthier. And they play the Raiders. They could definitely lose to the Raiders. They could lose to the Packers. They could lose out. They could lose out. They're on the fade list. Because until they take Baker out, like, there is no... Oh, and what about the Njoku catch? What the hell? What the hell is going on? They ruled this... It should have been a shutout. I forgot all about it. Look at this! Look at this picture! The ball is literally on the ground. They called it a touchdown. They reviewed it and upheld it. Here's another angle. Ball is literally touching the ground. He's not holding it. What the heck is happening? You watch it and you're like, oh, it looks like that bounced. And then you see it. Yeah, perfect response. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, that'll get overturned. I was already playing for the next thing. I was on to the next play call. I was on to the... They were like, touchdown. Stands. Throw it on the list of the ways that refs can fix games if they want to, but I think they're just bad. I don't know. If they're not fixing the game, that's more alarming. Because what are you looking at? God. It's ugly. So that was it. Those are all our picks that crushed. So we're looking good. We're back on track for football. Feel good about that. We've hit a lot of picks in a row. Basketball's been hot. You got to stick with me. We're working through it. Our reasoning is top notch. Let's talk about some of the other games that we didn't get to yet. Rams, Green Bay. Rams, something's really wrong with this team. And Stafford, more and more rumblings of him being hurt. Back injury, elbow injury. He looks bad again. His numbers don't bear out how bad this really looked because they got some long play touchdowns. They had the bomb to Odell, 54 yards. They had the 79-yard touchdown to Jefferson. You know, without those plays, it was really a slog. They can't run the football. That's not getting any better. This team was good with Goff when they had a great offensive line, Todd Gurley, and Goff to do whatever. That's where McVay succeeded. Now that they have this downfield passing attack, the opposite, with no rushing and not a great offensive line that has deteriorated due to injury and age and a million other things, I don't know how to feel about this offense. They're good. They're definitely good. They're not like bottom offense, and their defense is getting beat up too for some reason. So this game just got away from them. And I think Green Bay's defense is playing better than the Rams defense, or at least comparable. I like their defense a lot. They make a lot of plays. And the Rams turned it over a couple more times than Green Bay did, and that's probably the difference. But Rodgers is the better of these two quarterbacks. Green Bay has the better rushing attack. Green Bay has the receivers are probably about equal if you count Kupp and Adams for the same, and then you have Valdez, Scantling, Cobb, Beckham, Jefferson. All these guys are fine. Green Bay probably has more depth there, but if you want to give the edge to the Rams, I guess you can. Although Beckham looked hurt already in this game, I think. You know, both these quarterbacks were hurt and put on a pretty good show. You wonder if they're going to get healthier. Rodgers doesn't seem like he will get healthier. He needs surgery, but he's going to put it off to the offseason. But he's been great. He played great against a tough defense here without his left tackle. Their offensive line is going to get better. I think the Packers are worth a sniff for the Super Bowl odds. I wonder what those are. I could look them up really quick if they're available on here. Because they might be the best team in the league. They don't really have any flaws aside from injury to him. But NFL futures, let's see, to win the NFC. They are plus 365. Cardinals are plus 350. Bucks are plus 250. I mean, it's a hard road in the NFC. It is. But if they play the Bucks, they're going to shred them defensively, right? And Green Bay's D can hang. I think they match up pretty well with everybody. Also, to give some credit to the quarterbacks, I guess, it's an easy time to rag on Stafford, but he plays through everything and does way better than Baker Mayfield does. Maybe that's not where the line should be drawn, but that's how quarterbacks look when they're playing hurt. And generally, these guys play really well through injury, especially Rodgers. How much can the bye mean to either of these teams? I think the Packers still have one coming. Yep. They both... do the Rams have a bye now? Or did they just have one? Are they coming off the bye this week? They were, right? Yeah. So Stafford didn't look too much healthier after the bye. You wonder what's wrong with him. Or maybe I'm blaming it too much on health. I don't know. But Rodgers gets the bye to try to heal up. I just think Green Bay this was a disrespectful line. I personally put Green Bay in a couple of parlays and teasers and stuff like that I didn't pick on stream because I wasn't as confident in them. But and we said on stream, like, I like the Packers in every way except for
Ball here, 1st and 10.
The fact that
46. Stafford hit.
Their left tackle's hurt and their backup left tackle was hurt. So I thought the Rams might just ruin that game, but they didn't. They didn't take advantage. Yeah, and I have concerns about Sean McVay. Like I said, this is such a different offense than we saw them go to the Super Bowl with. This team's still very good. They're a contender. But they have some cracks in the armor that you can really see. And they can be exploited over the middle of the field, which the Niners proved. And this continued with Randall Cobb. He crushed them over the middle. And so did Adams. So we'll see what happens with them. They get They get the Jaguars. That should be their home against the Jaguars. I mean, that should be a 13-point spread. It's 12.5, 13, 13.5. Yep, right on target. A lot of people will have the Rams in that one, as they should. It won't be close. I get it. But still, a lot more questions about them than you want at this point in the year. And the Packers should only be getting better if Rodgers stays healthy. So we'll see. Aaron Jones gets a bye week to heal up to. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, we were wrong about this one. And I'll tell you exactly why. I only lost 2 picks in my pick'em pool yesterday. So Friday's show was really on point. We kind of nailed most of what we said. This one we were way off. And it was because I said Pittsburgh is getting all their defensive players back. Tomlin generally doesn't get crushed. I don't think he's ever finished under 500. You're really gonna not show me? Yeah. Oh yeah. 10-6, 12-4, 9-7, 12-4, 12-4, 8-8, 8-8, 11-5, 10-6, 11-5, 13-3, 9-6, 8-8, 12-4. Yeah, he's never gone under 500. They mark it back to... Are they gonna? Because they're awful. Their offense. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing that we missed. I don't want to bury the lead here. Joe Burrow is 500 times the quarterback that Ben Roethlisberger is right now. You need to not only stick a fork in Ben Roethlisberger, but what is the word for the really long, like a serving fork that you would stick into a turkey? If there's a name for that, that's what we got to stick into him. He is so done. He looks horrible. They can't play from behind because you can't rely on him to get the ball down the field consistently and not get destroyed. And so this game got out of hand like really early, and it just looks horrible because then from there it was just like normal. Yeah, it was 24-3 in the beginning of the second quarter. This drive actually went for 7 minutes. So it's 17-3 after a punt with 10 minutes left in the second. The second quarter basically just starts, and then the Bengals just put it away, and it's 24-3. And then from there, it's 17-7 final. So they just like kind of ran the clock out. Mixon dominated them. Their defense just still doesn't look healthy to me, and their offense, you can't score with a quarterback like this. It's almost like the Panthers. You can trick yourself into thinking the Panthers are good because they have McCaffrey they have Robbie Anderson, they have DJ Moore, and you could do that with Pittsburgh. They have Najee Harris, they have Deontay Johnson, they have Chase Claypool. This Freiermuth kid is actually pretty good at tight end. And then you're like, oh yeah, but they can't get the ball though because the quarterback is so bad. So I should have factored that in way more than I did, the difference in quarterback. Because Burrow was just dealing 20 for 24, did whatever he wanted. The stats don't bear it out because Mixon got all the love. 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. Burrow had a rushing touchdown too. But, yeah, I mean, how much do we trust Cincinnati as a playoff team? That's a little bit of a different question. Who's left? They have the Chargers. I like them in that game. Actually, the spread is too small. Niners. Who knows? At Broncos, Ravens. They have challenging games remaining. They do. But if they can get in, they could still win this division the way that Baltimore looks. We'll reevaluate them Friday when it comes to that Chargers-Bengals game because I really want to break that down and see which side I really like, but I just don't think I believe in the Chargers enough, and I think the Bengals are at least a playoff team. I'm not even sure the Chargers are. They just have issues. Bengals can really put it to bad teams, which is why it's so weird that they lost to the Jets. They do, like, drop games randomly. And Cleveland didn't get blown out. Like, what was that about? But other than that, it's all fine. Even the loss at Chicago, it's like you lost by 3 in Soldier Field. I get it. It's weird. They're a weird team, but Pittsburgh's a bad team. Masquerading as a good team because they have good defensive players. The good news for them is they could turn it around pretty fast because their team isn't terrible aside from the quarterback. And if they can plug in a quarterback in the draft or in free agency, I can't believe we're doing this already, but who are the free agent quarterbacks in 2022? And Ben Roethlisberger's atop the list. You got to be kidding me. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, Cam Newton. There's nobody here. Winston, Bridgewater. They'd be better with Bridgewater, honestly, but the Broncos need him, right? Unless they draft somebody. Mariota would be better. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, it's slim pickings here. It's hard to get a quarterback because they all get locked up now. So maybe this is a team that trades for Deshaun Watson. That makes sense. Ben Roethlisberger had a rape case against him. So does Deshaun Watson. This all checks out. That would make sense. Not going to root for him. Never root for the Steelers, obviously. But, you know, glad to see him get blown out. And that was one of the games I was wrong about. What are you going to do? Denver. This one I loved. Where is it? Here. For some odd reason, I didn't put this one into the Friday picks. I just didn't want to have a million picks. But we talked about the game on the show Friday, and I absolutely loved it. I saw no reason why the Chargers are road favorites against a team that I don't know if they're necessarily better than. And the Broncos run the ball really well with two different very good running backs. Their offensive line is good. The Chargers can't stop the run at all. What more do I need to see about this game? And that's exactly what the game was. Teddy Bridgewater fought through injury, left. Drew Lock throws a pick immediately. I thought we were going to somehow have to fight and sweat through this one. Thank God we didn't, because Bridgewater comes back, manages the game enough while injured to get through. I'm not saying Denver's amazing, but they had the hugs and kisses in this one really made sense. Great running attack, bad rushing defense. There's no way to make up for that. There's just not. Same way the Bucs have a bad secondary and Carson Wentz still kills them. You can't be that terrible in one aspect of the game. And the Chargers are. And I don't see why they wouldn't get taken advantage of elsewhere. The Chargers just do dumb things. They don't get Mike Williams down the field in this one at all. Patrick Surtain, by the way, rookie for the Broncos, is unbelievable from Bama. He's really good. So this Broncos D has teeth, and their offense can run. And so against a bad rushing defense, this spread was just incorrect. There's no question about it. Chargers also can't hit field goals. Some teams just can't hit field goals. You know, the Vikings, the Browns, the Chargers. I feel like the Eagles struggle. They missed one here, and then Herbie threw a pick six. What's with Herbert? I don't get it. He looked bad in this. 28 for 44, 300 yards, who cares? They were trailing the whole time. Threw two picks. He looked bad for a couple weeks now. Is he nursing a weird injury? Because he looked so much better last year. I don't know. The coaching has not been good here. I don't know if you can move away from it after 1 year or if he's struggling to pick up the offense or what. He's completing it at a similar rate. He's got a lot more interceptions this year already. I don't know.
Right on 3rd and 10 from the 16.
Something about it
Throws up a prayer to
stinks to high heaven with him. I am not really seeing it. The stats look so similar, but the eye test doesn't bear out. Because I think he should have taken a step forward and should be doing more things. And it's all there for him. The team is good. They have Eckler. They have Keenan Allen. They have Mike Williams. They have Jared Cook. They have Guyton as a burner. They have backup running backs like Kelly and whatever the other guy's name is to run. Their defense is just really bad, and I guess it's just hard to overcome that. But he didn't look good either here. So that's alarming. Who do they have next? At Bengals. Right. So that'll be a must-watch game for me next week because it's like whoever loses that game, it's like, okay, now it's a really uphill battle for me to believe in you as a team that could win a playoff game. It might sneak in either way. I don't know if it kills either team, but it's a measuring stick game, to say the least. So yeah, that felt like an easy pick to me also. And we would have nailed that if we threw it on the picks. And if you listened on Friday, you would have known that. And you should listen every Friday because that's where all the breakdowns come from. And then Monday, we just sweep it up. That's what we do. Couple of the bad games before we get to Monday night. Philly and the Giants. This deserves no time being talked about, but I did take the Giants because I don't believe in Philly as a road favorite. Also, 3.5. What are you kidding me? This team's not good. Philly's not good. Jalen Hurts is not good. He threw 3 picks, single-handedly lost the game for them. Their defense tried to keep him in it. Giants couldn't move the ball, but the Giants didn't have anyone on offense. This was the hardest game of the week to pick because I knew Philly was bad. I faded him a million times this year, and I tried to in this one and couldn't get myself to take the Giants. I knew it would be a terrible game. It was. I made a joke that Boston Scott should be renamed Jersey Scott because he dominated the Giants and he had like 7 touchdowns against them and some kind of crazy number, like 7 out of 11 touchdowns. Yeah, 11 career touchdowns, 7 against the Giants. And then as soon as I make that joke, I put it on Twitter, at MikeTheMush Sports. You get great stuff from there. You should check it out. But he fumbles the game away, literally, as soon as I praise him a little and make a joke about it, and there goes that. Hurts did try to throw the game-winning touchdown because the Giants had just nobody offensively and couldn't score. But Jalen Reagor doinked it off his face, and that was bad. He actually made a good throw. It probably should have hauled it in. They should have won 14-13, or at least had a lead 14-13 late. I found it funny that before this game, they wanted to keep Jalen Hurts. They made a report that they're going to keep him next year and not look for a veteran, and then he looks horrific, which I knew he was. They just had a couple of games where they beat up bad teams. Let's not get crazy. I'm still puzzled at how this Broncos game went, but the Saints have looked terrible. They're getting Trevor Siemian out of there. Taysom Hill looks like he's going to start. They lost to the Chargers, who I don't think are very good, and it just starts to make sense. This Eagles narrative was never fully baked for me. Not a fan. Not a fan. But they will win games down the stretch because they play nobodies, and then the heat will start again, and I just hope they make the playoffs. I really do. I hope they sweep out the season against the Jets, Washington Giants, Washington Cowboys. They probably won't. But if they make it in, I'm going to hammer whoever's playing against them because I just don't believe in this as a good team. They're $30 million under the salary cap. You can't be good. Give me a break. So were the Giants today with all the people they had missing, but doesn't matter. Not taking the Eagles. Jalen Reagor, by the way. Didn't he get drafted really high? First round, yeah. 2020 draft. And so he's young. And you never know. I mean, him and Devontae Smith. Smith looks good. But Reagor goes here. One pick ahead of Justin Jefferson. Ahead of Brandon Ayuk, who's better. Ahead of T. Higgins, who's better. Pittman, who's better. Laviska Shenault, I'd probably take over Jalen Reagor. KJ Hamler hasn't done anything. Chase Claypool. Van Jefferson. Denzel Mims. That's the Jets. What are you going to do? Point is, yikes. Eagles are bad. Giants are also bad. Atlanta, Jacksonville. This is another one that I wish I had the guts to take, and I threw it into some parlays, and we had a really good week. I'm telling you we did. Because you can't take the Jaguars in any way, shape, or form. And it's honestly stealing to fade the Jaguars with just having to give 1 point. I don't care who it is. And you have Cordarrelle Patterson, who's awesome, dominated again, breaks the league. He's Deebo Samuel 1.0. That's a thing. And then you have Kyle Pitts, who didn't do a lot in this, but he kept the defense honest and had a bunch of targets over the middle of the field. I think he drew a penalty at some point. Matt Ryan doesn't even play well. By default, though, they're just way better than the Jaguars. Jaguars are bad. Tavon Austin scored for the Jaguars in this, and I was like, Tavon Austin is in the NFL? No way. There's no way he played last year, right? He did for Green Bay. Yeah, I mean, come on. This guy's he's been a bust forever. Somehow he still plays. They should play him at running back. That's the kind of guy that fits the Cordarrelle Patterson mode. They'll never do it. He's too small, actually. Marvin Jones made an insane catch in this game, too. Let's look at that. Follow the Link podcast, by the way. At the Link_podcast if you want some non-sports stuff from me. That's a good podcast. We did a Would You Rather Thanksgiving edition that came out today. Really fun. Check it out. Marvin Jones. Oh my God, look at this picture. That's so cool. Wow. Live tweeting. Can't get that anywhere else. You can, most places, but still. Look at this catch. Diving, one hand, stick it. Oh! Marvin Jones Jr. In our fantasy league, we've called him Junior Mints for a long time. Who knows why? Junior Mints. Insane catch. The Jags are the kings of playing one-score games that they never competed in and look terrible and get manhandled the whole game, and then the box score, you're like, oh, that was a close game. Honestly, same thing with the Bills game that they won. It was just they got crushed most of the game and then just didn't give up points and then snuck it out at the end, and you're like, oh, Right. I forgot this game was close because the Jags are so bad. They really are so bad. I really hope Trevor Lawrence gets something next year. Get him a receiver or get him a coach or get him something, a new jersey, a new uniform, new stadium, a new everything. God. All right, I'm going to tackle the Jets. I'm going to try not to do too much time on this. Zach Wilson's a nightmare. I mean, first drive, the Texans went for it on 4th and 1 in their own zone and ran for like 1,000,000 yards with Rex Burkhead, and I knew it was going to be a long day for Gangrene. But they win this game because by default, because they are better than the Texans. Franklin Myers made a sick interception. Let's look at that quick. Look at this. Bats it up in the air, chases it down, and gets it. The autoplay. I mean, he's not the fastest guy in the whole world, but man, he's been playing awesome. They extended him early in the year, and people raised an eyebrow to that. I can't do that. I can't do the rock thing. I want to have him on so I can have him teach me how to do the eyebrow. Someone reach out to the rock for me. I don't know. But he has looked awesome, and I love the idea from Joe Douglas to get him the extension early. If you think he's going to outplay that contract, it's good financially for sure. And it shows these young guys who also you're not paying anyone anyway if you're the Jets. You have no one on the talent on the team to pay. So no big deal. It's not going to matter. This guy deserves it. He plays well. And the young kids can aspire to that because they're like, oh man, if I play well now, I can get money now. Let's go. So some of these young kids, Quincy Williams, Quinnen Williams, Franklin Myers, Mosley's not a young kid, but he fits perfectly. They play really fast and energetic and hard and tough. So this defense has more to work with than some defenses in the league, but then they turn around and give up 50 like every other week. I don't know if Saleh deserves credit or needs credit taken away, but he has built some kind of culture here. The talent's not there yet. But you get some secondary players in here, and all of a sudden they're going to run to the ball, and it'll be interesting. He turned that Niners defense around quick. I think he could do that too. I'm not going to talk about the second butt fumble. I mean, look it up if you want to. Butt fumble 2, electric boogaloo. I'm writing the headlines for you. He threw it off Ty Johnson's back. Zach Wilson scrambling. He throws it off his back. He's not even looking. It gets picked off. I mean, this kid has made puzzling decisions. He hasn't looked the part. And I'm getting really concerned. I really am. I'm not giving up on the kid. You got to play him the rest of the year. This offensive line is terrible. He hasn't had Becton. They have no talent on the team, but they have some receivers. He hasn't completed a lot of passes. He's got 4 touchdowns, 10 picks. He just makes bad decisions. And I said it coming out of the draft, and I was excited that they drafted him because you need a new quarterback and you need it to hit, right? But I said it in the draft. BYU gave him insane protection against a really bad schedule. Their offensive line was awesome, so he was able to just sit back there forever and then throw darts all the way down the field when someone eventually worked their way open. You can't do that in the NFL, and I don't know if he can develop the skills fast enough. I hope he can. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm starting to get worried. And next year is going to be all about him. I mean, you need to see something, or else the following year you got to start thinking about making new plans already, and we're not there yet. He hasn't had a chance. He's been hurt, and they win the game, so like whatever. But he's looked terrible, and Houston just is so putrid they couldn't possibly do anything against this defense. So, horrible game. They literally announced at one point, Zach Wilson is now over 100 yards passing. It was late in the third quarter. Kicker woes. Jets can't hit a field goal to save their life. Robert Saleh sweats on the sideline, man, and I can't blame him. I saw him dripping sweat. His shirt is covered. He needs some Thompson tees. My favorite product. I've been trying to get a advertisement from Thompson Tees on both my podcast, the Link Podcast, available everywhere, and this. Oh, my favorite. Stops you from sweating. They're sweat-proof undershirts. Incredible. You got to get them. ThompsonT.com or whatever their website is. Really good stuff. Get Robert Saleh in there. Have him be a spokesperson. Give me a check. Jets are terrible. What else is there to say? I can't believe they won. They're so bad. They have a really low floor, but they can also beat some other bad teams. Like the Titans had nobody, so their defense just swarmed and they pull out a win. The Bengals game makes no sense. It makes sense that they beat the Texans. They competed with the Dolphins. I think there's a chance they compete with the Eagles, although the Eagles just have pros and the Jets kind of don't. But the Jets are at home. I wonder what the spread is. Probably like 3 on the road, maybe 4. Philly 6.5. Yeah, no, I can't do that. I'd actually take the Jets there, which is ridiculous. We'll see how the week goes along. And that's pretty much all the games. I think we covered them all. Let's talk about Monday before we wrap. As always, we will start tomorrow's show after the intro with the recap of Monday Night Football. And then, like I said, we're going to jump all the way into baseball tomorrow. That's what tomorrow's about. And then Wednesday, we're off. Thursday, we are back for UFC and some basketball stuff probably, and any more baseball news that comes out. And then Friday, we're back to football. This game is simple for me to break down. Both these teams are bad. Both these teams are banged up. But I can't abandon Russell Wilson this easily, to the point where I'm not taking Russell Wilson against Taylor Heineke with not having to give up a spread. I know they've looked terrible. Seattle has more talent on their team. I am nervous that for Washington, you can get Gibson and McKissick going in the running game, and you can get Terry McLaurin going. So they're not totally dead against a bad defense. And honestly, Taylor Heineke has looked pretty good. So if he comes out and shreds this Seattle team, it's going to be a little bit of the same thing I missed in the Colts-Bucks game, where it's like, oh yeah, but their defense is bad, and even though it's Wentz, he can actually get the ball down the field better than you give him credit for, and maybe they do score on Seattle, and it becomes a problem. I'll acknowledge that that's a possibility. The fact is, I'm just expecting Russ to come back, and he's a free agent. Is he a free agent next year? He's going to be leaving Seattle either way. I think he is a free agent, and he's going to want to show that he's got it. These games are important for him personally. The Seahawks are done. But they're really important to up his stock and make sure he's healthy going into the offseason. And his stock's not going anywhere. He's going to get paid anyway. But personally, I think he would want to turn this around. Washington has no teeth on the defense. Chase Young is out now. They have nothing. And eventually, you have to have that Tyler Lockett game where he goes 10 catches for 174 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, that happens. DK could get loose. They have better weapons. Or at least different weapons, and they fit better with the quarterback. They should be open down the field. If Russ can get protected at all, they should be able to do this. So I'm going to side with Russell Wilson not having to give any points to a Washington team that might actually be better than Seattle overall, but the quarterback disparity, I'm trying to look at this one the same way I look at Burrow versus Ben, and that's not fair to Heineke, but it's actually just because I think Russell Wilson is a lot better than Joe Burrow. I think Russell Wilson is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think Tyler Heineke is an average quarterback. And that's it. If I don't have to give points and it's a Monday night game. Also, it's Russell Wilson's birthday. Come on. We got to go full screen for this. It is Russell Wilson's birthday, November the 29th. They are playing a game that no one believes in them for. They don't have to give any points. Sign me up. Take the Russell Wilson bounce back game. I don't need stats. I don't need X's and O's. I don't need hugs and kisses, although I like them very much. Seahawks money line, first pick. And we have a 4-pack of picks today. A lot of games that I really like, and a couple different varieties. But give me the Seahawks money line at the Washington football team. Straight up. That's the first one. Second one is a parlay. The Heat are home playing against the Denver Nuggets, who are banged up. We talked about that they just lost Michael Porter Jr. In the opener for the stream. So I like the Heat. They're giving a lot of points, but I like them to win this game. It's on NBA TV if you want to watch it. And then I'm going to parlay that with the Jazz, who are home against the Blazers. The Blazers are another team I've been fading a lot. Jazz are one of the best regular season teams around. Jazz are great at home. I don't think the Blazers can get this one done. I don't think they have the horses. I think the Jazz are too big and strong and tough. And Blazers just let me down a lot, honestly. So I'm going to parlay the Heat and the Jazz, just those two. There's some other games that I really like, but I'm going to stay away from them. I'm going Heat and Jazz at -130. And then we're doing something weird. Cross sport. We're going across the sports. A 7-point teaser for football, which is a 5-point teaser for basketball, which I rarely do, but it makes sense in this one. I'm going to double dip on the Seahawks, but I'm going to take them at +7 this time. And then I like the Cavs +11.5 against the Mavs. Cavs-Mavs. You can't not take that game. It's too good. I love the Cavaliers. I have all year. They're getting healthier. Sexton's still out, but that's okay. The Mavs I just don't believe in. Luka's amazing. Other than that, I don't think they have good players on the team. And I think Jared Allen and Mobley can dominate Porzingis in this one. And so 11.5, I think they could win the game. I think they definitely keep it close. So the 7-point teaser and 5 points for basketball, Seahawks and Cavs. And then I'm giving you an underdog parlay, long shot. We're having fun on a Monday because we just swept Sunday. We won. We've been killing picks. So we go underdog parlay, Thunder money line against the Rockets. No one should be underdogs against the Rockets. Nobody. Thunder money line and Iowa basketball money line at Virginia. I hate Virginia. I always have. I hate their style of basketball. They don't play offense ever. The one year they did, they succeeded. Every other year, their offense is anemic, and they just try to slow games down. Iowa has a really good offense, and I think even if Virginia plays great D, and I know it's on the road and whatever, I think Iowa can just outscore them. Even if it's in the 40s or 50s, I don't care. I think Iowa can get there. And I really just love the odds. This underdog parlay pays out. I got it around plus 340 for Thunder and Iowa. So that's a good one. Recap, 4-pack of picks. Seahawks money line, Heat plus Jazz parlay at minus 130. 7-point/5-point teaser for football and basketball, Seahawks and Cavs, and then underdog parlay, the Thunder and the Iowa Hawkeyes. In Tuesday's intro tomorrow, I will give double middle fingers to Tom Thibodeau. You know how I feel about Kemba Walker. He's my favorite basketball player. Maybe ever, not named Shaq. Probably ever, though. Maybe. It's close with them. He's pulling him out of the rotation or something. I will go off on him in the intro, so make sure you're there at 5 p.m. tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, on twitch.tv/MikeTheMush, posted to YouTube after. Follow at MikeMush Sports. Then we'll talk all about this Seahawks game where Russell Wilson hopefully dominates on his birthday and gets us another win. And then we'll dive back into baseball, talk the contract, talk free agency, and start up the hot stove and get it warm. That's a wrap. See you tomorrow. Peace out.